My name is Liam. I'm a painter who's based in Cardiff.
Can you tell us something about the work that you're showing?
I'm showing primarily portraits. One is a video piece. One is there's a series of paintings based on modern light sources, and there's also a series of arrangements of people. The large black paintings are almost reimaginings of paintings of people who are reading by candlelight, or candlelight based paintings, but in a modern kind of situation. Like if you go into a bar in the night and you see an illuminated face, it's not illuminated necessarily by a candle, which it would have been say X amount of years ago. It's illuminated by text or a laptop or some other artificial source that gives off a particularly telling light of today. I've also got arrangements of girls, which are oil paintings. They are more like my daily practice really. They are they're about portraiture, but they're not necessarily portraits of specific people. And then the video piece is my attempt to kind of construct a watercolour in its kind of fundamental parts, pigment and water. Obviously there's references within all the work to a kind of a sinister maybe, or a darker side, which I kind of like to play on. I like the idea of ghosts, I like the idea of spirits, etc. Even though I'm not necessarily a believer or whatever, I definitely embrace that side of my practice. I like the idea of somebody with their headphones on listening to particularly teenage kind of music, coming in and having an experience with a painting that I couldn't have. Maybe something like guy listening to like loud metal, you know, various devil worshipping type of music, coming in and having quite an experience, and then on the other hand being this other practice. I think that would work well. The one thing that is continuous within my practice is the desire to create a portrait. The use of different mediums is natural really. Digital media is a given. My laptop is next to my palette in the studio. There's no difference between the two really. My computer's covered in paint, my palette's colours are made with the knowledge of a digital LCD screen. There's a clear continuation between the two, even though that I don't actually have to say that. I see it every day. The idea of digital manipulation, etc., is a given. No longer do you have to imagine how to push a person back within a portrait or bring them forward using colours. You can do it on Photoshop and see the results instantly, and that definitely will affect a painting. But they have to be mediated through paint, and oil paint in particular.
I was just wondering what you talk about portraiture. I'm wondering whether the personality of a sitter and all these things are important to you, or whether it is in fact more of a sort of figurative thing, and you're looking for moments within figurative kind of lighting or atmosphere or those sort of things.
Personality is not something I'm trying to convey, because I think that should come through naturally if needs be. I never go against that articulation of a person and their kind of personality, but exploration of portraiture as a subject leads to works that don't necessarily need to be related to the person. For example, I don't need to paint somebody and say this is somebody who has done this thing, which like for example a painting of somebody from an army background, and it's to do with stature, to do with that person's integrity, etc. That isn't necessarily important within the works I'm showing here.
It's interesting. I think I see where the spiritual comes in there, because you're divorcing the body from the other references, so it exists in a space on its own, you know.
Being a portrait painter, you a good example is I'll paint somebody's nephew, and unknown to me, somebody within the family will say, oh, that looks like uncle whatever, or granddad or grandfather or grandmother, and there's this kind of idea of artist as shaman, as a conjurer of the unknown, and all things I find quite ridiculous, and I'm trying to decipher that within the work, literally, breaking up, you know, saying if I can conjure up a person or a personality, let's try to figure out what does that. Break down to pigment, break down to the parts, break down to the what makes the image, the lighting, like I said, the actual, the dust, the stones that are grinded, the oils to make that image, to portray that kind of conjuring, invoking, they all have similar things to do with seances. You evoke in a seance.
So you are a shaman then?
I don't believe that a seance works. So I wouldn't say a painting works either.
But the way you use your medium, almost ritualistically?
I wouldn't say it's ritualistically.
Oh, okay.
It's a personal endeavour to explore the reason for making a portrait, and that accidentally crosses over into forms of seance, forms of a good example is a ghost. You see a ghost, it could be some people believe it's a magnetic vibration, some people believe it's a spirit, some people believe it could be a stain within a canvas. There's no difference between the things, and the way to discuss those can be very similar.